Hi, I'm Kelly and welcome to Kapowski Reads. I am giving myself the best treat. I'm giving myself the treat of a nice time. Basically, I have some nice things planned and I plan to read what I think is going to be a really nice book. I'm going to be reading female fantasy. This is one of my most anticipated reads of the year. I pre-ordered it and finally I am making time to read it and I'm so excited. I am in the mood for a kind of light, this is going to be romantic, a nice light romantic kind of romp. I want to be entertained and I think this is going to make me chuckle. I think this is going to make me just have the best time. I read The Most Famous Girl in the World by Iman Hariri Kia earlier this year and I loved it. So I pre-ordered her next book and I feel like I'm going to be obsessed with this author. I feel it in my bones. This book focuses on Juna, who is a copywriter by day and fan fiction author by night. She is really into a fantasy series that surrounds a merman, prince of the seas. And he has this romance with this woman and there's battles and all of this jazz. And she's really into it, writes fan fiction and kind of struggles with her romantic life. We find out why, and that totally makes sense. And she learns that there is a man who the main character of her beloved series is kind of inspired by. So she's decided she's going to go to New York and find Ryan, who the character Ryke, R-Y-K-E. I was calling him Rick and thought that's not the name. No offense to anybody called Rick. That's not the name for your hero in a romantasy series, I don't think. So she's going to go to New York. She's going to find this real life hero, the man that the character she compares every guy to is inspired by. And she needs to borrow her brother's truck to get there. And her brother's best friend is like, I also need to go to New York. We'll go together. So they're going to go off to New York together. She's going to find this guy that is there a thought process behind her, hunting this guy down? That's going to be weird. And her brother's best friend, Nico, is off to go and meet a lady in New York as well. I am only 30 pages into this book, but so far every chapter starts with a chapter from the fantasy series. And I don't read a lot of romantasy. I don't think I do. I can't think of any of the popular ones that I've read. I've read One Dark Window, but is that romantasy? I don't know. But I'm loving the romantasy chapters. I'm loving them and I'm already obsessed with Junie. I love her. She is just the best kind of person. She has main character energy, which is perfect because in this book she is the main character. But she had a date with this guy and it just, he asked the question of, no, but where are you really from? And she just nopes out of that date, out of the back of the cafe and just runs away. We get to know a bit about her dating life, or in the short pages I've read so far. She's dated multiple men with the same name, but it's an obscure name. It's Marion Chad. And I don't know anybody called Marion Chad. I don't know anyone called Marion or Chad, but she's met a bunch of them. And yeah, my plan for today is that I'm going to go to Pilates because I woke up and my hair looks really nice today. So of course I'm going to have to go and put my hair in a bobble and it will not look nice, but let it be known, my hair for a moment was cute. I'm then totally going to go and just sit in a coffee shop, read my book. I just want to sit and read it, but no, I will go work out first. I haven't actually been to this instructor before. It's in the studio that I used to go to every Saturday, but long story short, my Saturday class just doesn't exist anymore and I'm not really available at the times of other classes, but I have some credits left and my schedule has just aligned in such a way that I can make this class and I'm excited, but I'm nervous. I'm always nervous when it's a new instructor, even though every single instructor I've ever met has been lovely. The problem is me. I'm just an anxious person. I'm going to go say goodbye to my good hair day and then read my book, drink my coffee. I will come back when I have made more progress, but so far, this is the right book to pick up. I want to read it. I am back and my entire body feels like I am made of jelly. The class was really, really tough, but mainly because it's ab-based and I don't have abs. Like even under all of the jelly, I don't have abs. There's no ab strength there. So I was trying. At one point, my legs just wouldn't work. They just would not work. I was laying there kind of like a sad bug trying to do my little frog legs, and my legs would not move. But I managed maybe like 90% of the class. So I will take that as a win. Definitely go back to that instructor. She was so nice. Like the next time that my schedule allows me to go to one of her classes, I will definitely go and I will try my best. I then took my jelly legs to a coffee shop. I went to Common Sense. I sat with my espresso. I needed a croissant. Like I deserved one. I worked really hard. And my abs still hurt. It's like that pain will go away, hopefully, but there's something in there and it's burning. I read more of my book and I'm now about halfway through. I'm still loving it. We have two storylines. We have the story with Junie and Nico where they are going off to New York for her to find a man who inspired a character she adores and for him to go see this lady that we've never heard of. And we have the Tale of, I keep forgetting the title. Tale of Sea and Secrets? Can't remember. The romantasy storyline, which I am heavily invested in. In that storyline, we have a character, Mariah, who has basically been taken by a mer prince and battle is going to happen. And they are having this little will they, won't they? And it's definitely going towards the will they. And I'm so here for it. I can 100% see why Junie is obsessed with this book series because I want to read it. I think, at least, I was saying to my friends that I think that the Romantasy series is maybe inspired a little bit by A Court of Thorn and Roses, but maybe that's just because ACOTAR and the Romantasy series in this book both go by acronyms because their titles are so long. And a lot of my friends have read ACOTAR and they did not like it. But I think I would love the romantasy story that's in this book. So I don't know. Maybe it's just a coinky dink. In the real world, which I'm probably going to focus on, because those chapters are much longer, whereas the romantasy sections are just a little sort of something, and a amuse-bouche. A little taster. Junie and Nico have headed off to New York. They are using her brother's truck and they're having their little bicker moments as they travel. And what I can only describe as hijinks ensue. I don't want to spoil this book because I want you to read it and I want you to love it the same way that I'm loving it. But all of these things happen and you're just like, what? What is going to happen next? They meet a whole gaggle of wacky and wonderful characters. And Junie kind of shows Nico, who's been he's poo-pooed her love of romance. And she has shown him that she has these valuable skills that he didn't know she had. And where did she learn them? Reading her romance novels. So it's like he's finding the value in something that's really important to her. I am up to the part where Nico and Junie have shown up to a motel. And would you believe that motel? They've only got one room. Just one bed. And that bed is a heart-shaped waterbed. I was kicking my little hooves with delight. Thank goodness for fidget spinner conventions, because that's the reason this motel has but one bed. Turns out I really like that trope. I've enjoyed that trope before in Once Upon a Broken Heart. Yeah, I think I quite like that. That forced proximity, yeah. I'm really enjoying the relationship between Junie and Nico. Nico is Junie's brother's best friend since childhood, but he was also a big part of her childhood as well. Junie and Nico used to be really close, but something has happened. We don't know what, but we're gonna find out. Junie is still really having feelings about whatever it was that happened. Nico, we don't get his perspective, so we don't know what he is thinking. I am loving, even if there doesn't end up being a romance between Nico and Junie, if Junie ends up with the guy that she's going off to go and find, I'm still loving the development of the relationship between Nico and Junie. The sort of rebuilding what was once a really beautiful friendship. Maybe it ends up being more, I don't know, but it's kind of healing. So at the motel, because Junie has shown Nico the value of her beloved romance genre, which I know she doesn't have to show him the value, he should just be like, it's important to you, therefore it has value automatically. But she has shown him like, hey, here are some really valuable skills that literally saved your butt. And she wakes up in the night and there's a light. Nico is reading her beloved copy of A Tale of Sea and Secrets. Again, I've mind blanked on the series name. I'm probably getting it wrong this whole time. It's definitely a something of something and secrets. And I love that. I love that he's reading the book. It's important to her and he's reading it. And yeah, this is important. I can't really explain why, but I love this. I'm having the best time with this book, the absolute best. That is what I wanted, is I wanted to just have a nice time, and I'm having a great time. To continue the great time, I've managed to convince my boyfriend to come with me to the Botanic Gardens. I'm going to go and frolic amongst some leaves. I'm going to lose my wee mind. I'm so excited. But I'm also really excited to read the last half of this book. I'm just anxious. I'm anxious because I hate a third act breakup or third act conflict. And I hope it's not going to have one. But I'm also prepared for there to be one because it feels like there always is one. But I will be back with updates on this. I'm excited. I'm loving this. This is the best. We went to the Arboretum today and I did in fact frolic. That was the plan. I wanted to frolic and I did. I am basic. Put me near some autumnal trees and leaves and I will lose my mind. The Arboretum in Aberdeen is it's definitely one of my favourite places to go. It is a proper, I hate the phrase hidden gem because it's not really hidden, but it is a gem. And then we saw a swan family on the way home. Pretty certain it's the same swan family that we saw like a couple of months ago. It was nice. I like seeing swans. And then I saw a cat. Not the cat that I usually hang out with, my neighbour cat. There's another cat that I've met a couple of times and it's taken to running at me, screaming, and then I have to pause, jumps on a wall, and then it gets lots of pats, and then it goes back about its day. I have a new cat friend. I'm ecstatic about this. I then finished my book, The Sky, and I loved it. 5 stars, definitely. I mean, I suspected that right from the beginning, but 100% 5 shiny stars. I am not exaggerating when I say that I loved every single page of this book. Every page. At the beginning, I wasn't super sure how I was going to feel with the romantasy chapters that were every single chapter. You can kind of see maybe a different sort of colour popping through. The darker pages are the romantasy chapters. So they are every second chapter. I was so invested. I want to go and read more romantasy now because this book made me love it, seeing how much Junie loved it. The New York chapters, or the real life chapters, were amazing. We got to meet Junie's circle of friends, her fan fiction pals who she had never met in person because she was so anxious about, you know, was she going to disappoint them? Was she going to be exactly what, you know, they thought she was going to be like? And when she got to meet them, and I loved them. I loved them so much. Somebody was wearing a top hat. They were ridiculous, but in the best kind of way, in a sort of sitcom characters kind of way. And I want a whole story with them. There were a couple of really, for lack of a better phrase, power of friendship moments. Very My Little Pony, I suppose. And it was just so lovely. I was charmed. This book made me laugh. I cried. I cackled. And I was utterly invested. I wanted to know what was going to happen next. I wanted nothing but good things for Junie and Nico. And I also was so invested in the Romantasy series. What was the title of it? It had a long title. I had to go double check. A Tale of Saltwater and Secrets is what the Romantasy book is called. And Junie and her friends call themselves the Salty Girls. I love it. Love, like, give yourselves a little group name. Love it. I loved Junie as a character. I instantly loved her and I continue to love her throughout. She was just pure sunshine. She knew what she wanted. She wasn't afraid to vocalise her desire. She knew what she wanted. She wasn't afraid to ask, and she wasn't going to accept less than what she wanted. And I love that for her. And I feel like more people should be like that. Like, know what you want and don't accept less. You don't deserve less. You deserve exactly what you want. She was too trusting at some points, but that led to really fun capers. And, you know, yes, she made some silly decisions, but she had a really good heart and she thought the best of a lot of people. And yeah, she trusted too much though, which I think is why she needs a little bit of grumpy in her life. I would 100% be her friend. I thought she was just a delight. Nico was the grumpy to her sunshine, of course, but I really liked finding out why. And when you found out why, you were like, 100%, I see why you are. Because Nico very well could have done what Junie did, of taking some horrible situations and just drowning in them and, you know, becoming all surly and grumpy. But Junie took her awful situations and put a positive light on things, learned from them, and never let people dull her shine. And I thought that was beautiful. And I think that Nico, he's going to get there. He'll get there. And we'll get an update probably, because this book also had little callbacks to other books by the author. I assume. I've only read one other book by her, but there was a reference to the most famous girl in the world, and I have ordered another book, the other book by this author, 100 Other Girls, which I think is going to be a sort of The Devil Wears Prada inspired story. And I'm sure when I reread this, because I will, there will be some references to it in here too. I thought the character growth for both of the main characters was just wonderful. And the character growth in the Romantasy book was also good too, but that was like a little side. That was like your side dish. This was the main star of the show. Plot was, I don't want to spoil it for you because I want you to read it, but let me just say the plot was wild from the very, very beginning. Yes, we knew she was going off to, for lack of a better word, stalk a stranger. But that was not where the zaniness ended. There was more. It was chaos, but it was glorious chaos. And I just gobbled it all up. I feel like this was such a love letter to the romance genre. You could really tell that the author, like, not only loves but respects the genre. There were so many beloved tropes, and this made me want to read more romance. I never usually find myself being called to romance, outside of Christmas, of course. But I will read a romance if it's something and romance. Like, it's fantasy, there's also romance. I haven't read a fantasy romance in ages. Like, there's horror, there's also a romance, that kind of thing. But just romance, maybe I need more in my life. If anyone has any recommendations for some good romance novels or fantasy romance especially, I really want to dip my toe in there, then please share in the comments so that I can I can read a little bit more. This book is 100% going to be on my favourites of 2025. I love it. It's not just recency bias. This book was just an absolute delight. I loved every moment of it. The book also ended with a teaser chapter for the author's next book, which, considering this was a pre-order and it's just come out like in October, who knows how long I'm going to have to wait, but I am in for the next book too. It just seems to surround an influencer who is going to be ridiculous, and I'm so here for it. I've had the best time, the best last few days. I have done really lovely things. I have read a lovely book. I'm happy. So I'm going to end the video now, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Friend? Hi. Hi. Do. Tiny cat. Tiny cat.